Hello everyone, this is a video about geology vocabularies. So first vocabulary is corn. Corn is composed mainly of an iron and nickel alloy. And we can see in the corn, the inner corn and the outer corn composed the corn. So in the inner corn, the corn is very high temperature, but in the corn it's mainly it's completely solid because of the high pressure, and in the outer corn it has lower temperature but still very high, and it does not have that it's not that solid. It's kind of like liquid, but it's melt. The second vocabulary is melting. This is a process that we put like metal or ore to liquid furnace. So we can rebuild that metal again. So here's the metal. Metal is outside of the corn, and in the inside, the metal is very hot, and in the outside, the metal is not that hot. So we call it geothermal gradient because the metal has different temperature. So in the lower metal, which there are higher temperature, the rocks are very soft, and in the upper metal, the rock is cold and brittle. The upper metal is soft enough to produce earthquake, and it's brittle enough to break. So the next one is crust. Crust is the surface which we stand on, where we stand on. So crust is right above the metal because metal has much higher density than the crust. And from the picture, we can see that we have two kinds of crust, where the first one is oceanic crust and the second one is continental crust. Continental crust is thicker, and the oceanic crust is more thin. So the next one is asthenosphere. This is the upper layer of the mantle. So we just mentioned the upper layer of mantle, and this is the part where provide geothermal heat energy to the earth, and it lays beneath the lithosphere. We can see on the graph, on the picture, right? And this is much hotter and more fluid than the lithosphere because the temperature here is much hotter. This part is very important because the asthenosphere lubricate the tectonic plate and allowing the plate to move. Next one, lithosphere. We just mentioned in the atmosphere. So from this sentence, we know that lithosphere is laying above the atmosphere, and this is the outer layer of the Earth. This is the part where it is rocky and rough, and this is very solid. Some scientists believe that the lithosphere caused the lateral movements of the plates. The plate tectonics. So that's the part where atmosphere and lithosphere move the earth, move the land and land apart and formed ocean between the land. So if we understand the plate tectonics, then we understand the mountains building process and how volcano forms and how earthquake forms. And we can also understand the evolution of Earth's surface. Like this is the original site, like original picture of the Earth, and now we have a completely different one. And third, we can use this figure to figure out what the past was like. So, how Earth, the tectonic plate, transform. This is one kind of it. This is called divergent boundary, which means that two plates, like the blue part and the purple part, they are moving away from each other, and when they move away, so the magma between them is raised up because of the density, so it comes up to the surface and form the volcano. So one example is we can see the here's a graph that is the East Africa Rift Valley. This is formed by the divergent boundary. What's more, here's the convergent boundary. There are two types of convergent boundaries that we will discuss later. So how convergent boundary forms is like plates, they collide together. Either two continental crusts collide, or one oceanic crust and one continental crust collide. So one type is called subduction. So subduction is when oceanic crust is collide with continental crust. Because the continental crust is denser than the oceanic crust, so the oceanic crust goes down and the continental crust goes up, and the magma below it, because of the pressure, it goes up and it forms volcano. And the second type, the continental collision. This is when two plates of continental crust collide. We can see this picture. One crust goes up and one crust goes down, and it forms mountains, maybe very tall. For example, this kind of collision, the continental collision, build the Himalaya mountains. So the third type of boundary, transform boundary. This is the boundary that two plates meet and they slide and grind. We can see the picture from here. And when plates do that, we can see that it causes a lot of, it results in maybe some collision. So earthquakes may happen during this process. So let's talk about the rock cycle. First, this is a cycle, so it's not like which one is the first one. So it is the heating, melting, cooling, breaking, and reassembling of rocks and minerals. So first, let's first see the magma. When magma they cooling, they formed igneous rocks, and igneous rocks form sedimentary, then it forms metamorphic rock. So what's the difference of rock and mineral? Actually, there are some difference. Mineral is an element or inorganic compound. And this structure, it can be various. It can be exact and also it can be various. So the next one. So surface impoundment. This is like when factories or companies, they create pollution. So they need a pond to collect all the wastewater. So this is a pond that hold waste materials and prevent their escape to the environment. So from this picture, this is a real surface impoundment. So this is oil refinery tries to keep the coastline clean. And the igneous rock. The igneous rock is formed by cooling and crystallization of some magma. Back to the circle. The magma and lava, the cooling and crystallization, and it forms the igneous rock. And there are several kinds of rocks. The first, the extrusive, is rock formed by lava, and the intrusive rock is formed by shallow magma, and the plutonic rock is formed by deep magma. And the sedimentary rock, this is the rock where it covers 75% of the Earth's surface. And this kind of rock can form by many kinds of ways, like weathering and the remains of other rocks. So let's back to the circle again. We can see the sediments can form by igneous rock through weathering, erosion, transport, or deposition, or through metamorphic, or the sedimentary. So the last one, metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock has been modified by heat, pressures, and chemical process. The metamorphic rock we can see is through it can be sedimentary rock through heating or pressure, or igneous rocks through heating and pressure. So it's actually the rocks that is formed by high pressure. So under different kind of situation, the metamorphic rock can be very different through texture or like chemical composition. Next one, the landslide. Landslide is the movement of rock, debris, or earth down a slope. We can see the picture here. It's a road, and here is a slope. So the rocks goes down. This is triggered by natural causes or by human activities. Sometimes, like rainfall, earthquake, tsunami can cause a landslide very easily. And the next one, the mass wasting. Actually, this is actually very similar to the landslide because it's also like a slope movement of rocks or debris because of the force of migration. Actually, sometimes this word is actually interchangeable with the landslide, but this is more is not limiting as the landslide because it does allow to say it has many different kind of triggers. And the last one, the ore. An ore is a type of rock that contains sufficient mineral with important elements including metals. For example, iron ore. So, thank you.